Okay, so this video is going to cover the inputting of an MV fare. It's a very simple, straightforward process, but there are a few steps involved, so let's go ahead and cover those. As you can see in Trip Broker, we've got 2 trips assigned for the 8:30 scheduled time. So we want to go ahead and take this information and book it into iCabby. So what I do is I right click on the specific trip to pull up the booking details. And you can see here a origination address of 801 Paula Street and a destination address of 2452 Watson Court. So I'll switch over to iCabby and I'll start to input that info. So we've got 801 Paula Street, 801 Paula Street in San Jose. And we've got apartment 9 there, but we'll go ahead and enter that apartment number in the iCabby driver instructions. But just so that you know where to identify that, they will typically put that after the street name. They'll put a number there, so it's just something to watch out for. And if you notice here, the origin comments as well also specify apartment 9. Now we've got from top to bottom here, we've got the booking ID, which we want to include, and I'll show you where to do that. The date, the client ID, the name, the mobility aids, which is something that we'll want to also include on our booking, because that will also kind of help as service notes to determine what sort of assistance the client is going to require. Okay, so 801 Paula Street, we're dropping off at 2452 Watson Court, so I'll switch back over to iCabby. And it suggests it there. And then let's go back up to the client details. Eugenio Celedon is the name of the client. And then you want to include the client ID next to the client name. So 220939 939, and down here in the account field we want to enter MV Transportation, and it's going to give you this dialog window or this pop-up window, and you want to enter the booking ID, which is this number here. So it's 1681 7234 7234. We save that, and what that does is it links this booking to the booking ID in Trip Broker, so that iCabby and Trip Broker have a common identifier for these trips, and it makes the payment process go a lot smoother. Now again, the client is in apartment 9, so we want to say pick up at apartment 9. Apartment 9. And let's check to see if there are any notes for the destination, and there aren't. It is a door-to-door service, which we could probably just include. Door-to-door here in the instructions, just to remind drivers would be a good thing to do. And then we want to make sure, obviously, that our scheduled times are correct. So here for Eugenio, he's got a scheduled time of 8:30. Now, typically to avoid earlies, which MV has a strict policy against arriving too early. So if it's an 8:30 a.m., we want to schedule it for 8:35, 5 minutes into the window, to allow to prevent any arrivals too early before. They like to have no earlier than 4 minutes. Excuse me. So that's about it. That's how you set it up. We've got all our details now. The mobility aids here, there was a note that mentioned a walker. so that's these letter codes here actually do correspond to specific details. Let me see if I could pull that up now. Um, and let me try to find the file that contains that. I probably should have had that open um, beforehand. Trapeze trip codes. This is something I will have already distributed to you, but if not, I'll go ahead and provide those. Mobility aid A, the client is in a wheelchair. Now that's something that maybe we want to disregard in this case, because one rule of thumb is that anything that makes its way into Trip Broker is ambulatory. So it's likely that this wheelchair note is an old note that they need to clear off. So we're going to disregard that for now. They've given us that sort of discretionary power to make that call, and they've even verified that in the past. So we're going to go ahead and just disregard that wheelchair designation. It might be good to send them a quick message on Slack to verify, but history dictates that, and what they've been very clear about is anything that is entered into Trip Broker as a YLS100 ride virtual log is typically ambulatory. Now the R letter code for the mobility aid is a personal care attendant, so we could just include that here, PCA, and that's about it. We've got our call built. We've got our key information, the pickup, the drop off, the pickup uh, instructions. We've got the client name, the client number, and then here um, in the pop-up window, we've got the booking ID. And those are all the pieces to this. We've got our scheduled time, 5 minutes into the window, and we're all set. Let's go ahead and save the job. We don't want a return at this time, and that's about it. Please do let me know if you have any questions, but that's more or less how you enter an MV Fair.